Right people, so we have got a Vauxhall on the channel today, and this is a proper Calvin special. It is a high mileage, we call it high mileage? It's high mileage, it passes the high mileage test I think. High mileage, salvage, Vauxhall Vectra Vxr. Here we go then, a 2007 Vauxhall Vectra Vxr, a well-deserved spot on the channel this car's getting, because you know what, I say it all the time, I used to be a big Vauxhall fan. Back in the day when I first passed my test, my first car was a Vauxhall Cavalier, which was essentially a two-door coupe version of the Vauxhall Cavalier, which at the time was the previous version of the Vauxhall Vectra. Back in the Cavalier days, they'd done the Cavalier GSI. One of my friends actually had one of them. Red top engine, 150 horsepower. Great thing that was. They then released a Mark 1 Vauxhall Vectra, so they dropped the Cavalier, released a Mark 1 Vauxhall Vectra, which was quite a cool car to be fair. I remember the wing mirrors were quite unique in design. They made that car from the late 90s up until about 2003, and then they made the Mark 2 Vauxhall Vectra, which is what this is here. They didn't actually release the VXR until 2006, and then they made this car here right up until the end of the Vauxhall Vectra range, which was when they changed it to a Vauxhall Insignia in 2009. Really complicated. Vauxhall must have been going for a bit of a midlife crisis at that point in time, and then they of course announced the Insignia VXR. The Vectra VXR here is a 2.8 V6 turbocharged engine, single turbo, apparently a twin scroll turbo. It produces about 250 horsepower. This car here though has apparently been tuned. Not sure how true that is, but it has apparently been tuned, alright? So we are going to do draggy times in it and find out how quick it is from 20 to 70 mile an hour. It is supposedly about 300 brake horsepower, weighs about 1500 kilos, which puts it in the category of sort of a similar power to weight ratio as the Audi S3, the black one that we've done a video on, well, probably it was yesterday in my life, but a few days ago on the channel, right? So this car is a salvage car. It actually had a front end smash, which we'll go through HPI shortly, and I'll go you through a few more details on that. But you can sort of see silver's a bloody difficult colour to colour match. All body shops say that. Let me know if you're a body shop and you can vouch for that. But yeah, they ain't done a bad job. It ain't bad for an old car. It's a bloody old car, isn't it? Ain't too bad at all. 19-inch wheel option, which is good. Around the back, do you know, they're not the best looking cars in the world, but I think that's quite good looking from the rear, isn't it? Yeah, I think that looks alright. Two exhausts at the bottom there. And is any branding on the exhaust? Any VXR branding? No. Vauxhall, you failed us. Why did you not just put a little VXR badge on there? But VXR badge on the boot lid there. V6 turbo. Did I mention it was a V6? Surely I did. 2.8 V6 turbo engine. On the inside, it's obviously quite a big car, you know, nice and spacious. It's got a 6-speed manual gearbox, by the way. That's quite an important factor. The S3 was also a 6-speed manual gearbox, and so is that BMW 530i there, which I'm going to try and do a video on shortly, so look out for a video on that. Super rare manual gearbox in that. Recaro seats, which are quite nice. They were offered as an optional full leather option. This is like the mixed material. Quite like them like that. Good looking seat they are. And what else can I say? Mileage. We want to talk about mileage quickly, don't we? Should we do a quick hashtag key check? Ready? There's the key. It is
2 hours later.
There it is. Typical Vauxhall key. Nothing too special at all. Not even a VXR badge. Why they haven't put much effort into letting you know that you're sat in a VXR. They've got a little VXR badge there, another little VXR badge at the bottom of the steering wheel there, and then if we start the engine, guys, big drum roll for the mileage. I don't know what VXR dials, they're quite good, and a little sweeping action as you turn ignition on there. 116,000 miles, that ain't too bad, I don't think, alright. So what we can do now is the usual thing. Do you know what, I think that was an option. That must have been an option. I'm pretty sure they didn't all come with that, alright? So yeah, it's got a big sort of bigger screen with the sat nav. Is it proper sat nav? Attention! Yeah, start navy, destination input, map. It's actually got a map, look at that. There's me, look, that triangle there is me. Anyway, should we start the engine, see what it sounds like? Sounds alright, I suppose. Nothing too exciting. Sounds pretty good. Got a bit of funny looking carbon stuff here. Yeah, I think what we'll do now, guys, is we'll do the usual thing. Throw a camera up in the window, quickly go through HPI, because I want to talk to you about the you know, the salvage element of this car. Talk about values as well, because that's a really important factor, because the book values are miles out on these cars, and I do think, you know, as with any sports car in any brand across the whole bloody world, they do get to a point in time when they start to go up in value, and I think that will happen with this car at some point soon. We'll talk about it shortly. Let's put a camera up in the window, go through HPI, and after that we'll go for a drive, all right? VXR badges on the door sills there, which is pretty good, and it's just random. You know, I always thought that was a bit random what they do. The Vauxhall Vectras, you haven't got switches for the rear windows, but you can click back and then you can undo the rear windows if you want to. Don't know why I pointed that out. Bit pointless. Centre armrest, guys. A little cubby hole underneath. I like the blue badges. I think they're quite cool. Under the bonnet, by the way, they look really like, it's quite an attractive engine bay, I think. So Vauxhall always done a good job of an engine bay, I'll give them that. The old red top Vauxhalls, the old GTEs and the Cavalier GSI, which I mentioned earlier. Lovely looking engine that was. 4-cylinder, 2-litre engine, as I mentioned, 150 horsepower. Now let's not start the engine again yet. I did just switch it off because I don't want it getting too warm, because it's a bloody hot day and we want to chill out and talk about stuff, don't we? So quickly pull up HPI. HPI, let's go. KA07 LFE, insurance right off in red there, yeah? If you ever HPI car and you see red, that is a problem generally. Click that. Insurance write-off, category N, which is non-structural damage. For those that don't know, the crack with N and S. S is structural damage. So this is non-structural, so it might have had a bit of a repair under the bonnet on the front end, which we already know about. It was done in April 2021, so it's obviously been repaired since then, and it is now back on the road. And if you go down to the bottom and click MOT, it's got a long MOT until January 2023. All right, so four other registers are clear, so it's not stolen, which is handy. It's got no finance on it, security watch, and the condition inspected is good. Vauxhall Vectra Vxr, 9 former keepers, so we're almost at double figures on the logbook. 5-door hatchback, 6-speed manual. Current keeper has had it since December 2021. All right. Silver petrol 2.792, 2.8. HPI spec check isn't currently working. £19,917 new. That's a squeaky armrest. I'll try and keep my arm away from the armrest to restrict or defer from annoying you. I've never used the word defer in my whole life, but you know what I mean. Cheap car. That was a cheap car, man. And the value of this car today, which is quite interesting. I've got my arm on her armrest. NMR checks, quickly go through that. It's not got no mileage discrepancies, which is brilliant. I keep pressing a button on the screen, it keeps doing that. That's annoying. Market values, right? This car books at the retail value on the assumption that it's not categorised. So as a HPI clear car, the retail value is £2,005. That is with 179,000 miles. You know, that's not right. Let's put up another valuation. Let's get Cap Black Book live, yeah? See what Cap's saying. Here we go. Cap's I say it all the time. It's decent. Cap is decent. With 150,000 miles, can we adjust the mileage to 110? There you go. The retail value on the assumption that it's HPI clear on this car today is £2,675. But if you go over to Auto Trader, the cheapest Vectra Vxr on Auto Trader currently is that one there at £2,000. That's in somewhere called the Isle of Skye. 435. I don't know where that is. That's in another country basically. But the cheapest one within a sensible reach is this one here at 4,750 in Bedford, 94,000 miles. So they start at about £5,000. Yeah, there isn't many advertised at all. They didn't build loads of them. I think they built about 1,000 of them. So they're quite a rare car. I don't know if that's good. Maybe not many people bought them. I don't know. But yeah, they start at about £5,000. This car, really difficult car to put a price on because it's quite a nice car. Massive shame that it's categorised, but it's obviously going to be cheaper than the cheapest one available on Auto Trader currently. All right. If we head back to HPI quickly, is there anything else worth talking about? No, there's not. I think what we do need to do now is we need to hit the road, don't we? Because yeah, Draggy. Let's go do Draggy Times. Let's go. Oh, it sounds proper nice. Like it's got a bit of a purr, like a real low end. I don't know if you can hear that through the camera, but it does sound really good. And if we quickly talk about values, right, what you can never ignore in the car world, some people say, oh yeah, but that's a Vauxhall, or that's a Ford, or that's a Citroen, that will never go up in value. Everyone's got a place in their heart for a certain car, yeah? And there's lots of people out there, like Vauxhall as a brand has got an absolutely huge following. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I did say it, I don't know if I even mentioned it, but everyone in Luton, trust me, whether it's your uncle, your auntie, so many people worked for Vauxhall. In Luton specifically, that brand was absolutely massive. It still is. it still is massive. None of my family worked at Vauxhall, to be honest with you. Half of them are probably on bloody Crime Watch or up to no good. But yeah, but Vauxhall's a massive brand, so this car will undoubtedly go up in value. Not just this particular one, but Vauxhall sports cars in general. The old Cavalier GSIs now, they've gone up a lot. Got a bit of a squeak on the seat as well. Got a few squeaks going on here, haven't we? But yeah, people love them. That's an absolute fact. And I think the fact that these cars are still hanging in at around £5,000 upwards, I think that's a massive compliment and credit to these cars. They're still clearly loved. They're not £2,000, although the book value says they're £2,000. They're not £2,000. You can't get one for a couple of grand, although there was that one that's like 400 odd miles away for a couple of grand. Surely there's got a bit of catch for that. I need to read the ad. Driving wise, like this is a quick car. Definitely tunes. It's pulling unbelievably well. For a big car to only weigh 1,500 kilos, that ain't a lot of weight, really, is it? Oh my god, this is fast. This is actually fast. Torque steer that you get on every Vauxhall VXR. We've got the Corsa VXR, which I've done loads of content on. In fact, Sammy at work, he's got a Corsa VXR. He absolutely loves it. I keep saying, Sammy, ain't it time for a change? He's like, oh, I don't know, I'm not. Fair enough. But yeah, he loves that. And then Astra VXRs, they've got a crazy amount of torque steer as well. But yeah, look, that squeaking you can hear, that is the tyres just about losing traction. It is a very warm day and the roads are bone dry. This thing is lighting up, guys. All right, so I think what we'll do now, guys, head over to the draggy scene section of the video. The time that I want to kind of get is a low 6. I don't know if I'm going to get a low 6. That's exactly what the Audi S3 got. I think it's 6.06 that got, but there's only one way to find out. Let's just do it. Yeah, let's go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wheel spin. Managed to get 70 out of second gear. That's quite impressive. I think that might help us. 6.65 run number 1. I think I need to try and work out how to turn traction control off. Is that even an option in this car? 6.65 though, guys. That's a pretty good first run. I'll do a couple more and see if we can come close or even beat the Audi S3. 3, 2, 1. Now I have just discovered the sports button on the dashboard I didn't use in the last run. See if that made a difference. 6.25 seconds. That is bloody good. I'll be honest with you, my gut instinct was telling me I don't feel like this is going to beat the S3, but it was a good thing to put it up against. But 6.25 seconds, that's really good. I will do one more run off cam to see if I can beat that, but I think we're going to struggle to beat that. That's a bloody good time. See, as you pull off them the low end of the rev range is such a nice place to be for the sound. Also, what's nice, when you put the sports button on, the throttle response is really responsive, and when the turbo kicks in, it absolutely tears. It's got that tearing noise. Even a tuned Astra VXR seems to make the same noise. Listen to this. Let me undo the windows. I think it's a wicked car. What's really strange for me about this car is it reminds me so much of a car that I used to have years ago that I don't really like talking about because it's the only car that I regret selling, and that car is my Lotus Colton. I had a Lotus Colton years ago, and being like growing up as a guy that liked Vauxhalls, having a Lotus Colton was quite a legendary moment in my, I suppose, my career as a car trader and my life as a petrol head. And this car drives so much like that car. I sold it, by the way, to earn a couple of grand profit and move on to better things in the world, but that car looked amazing. Yeah, that was a categorized high mileage Lotus Colton as well, by the way, with no service history, one key. It literally had the key in the logbook, that was it. It wasn't a great example, but it was a bloody Lotus Colton. Anyway, this car drives so much like it, and the things that sort of remind me of it is it's a little bit disconnecting to drive. A Lotus Colton is horribly disconnecting to drive. This is much better than a Lotus Colton from a steering point of view. The steering on a Lotus Colton is horrible, but the gear stick or the gear changes are really long throw. It's quite sort of quite loose. It's also got a 6-cylinder engine, again like the Lotus Colton. The power delivery is probably quite similar. Like I would love to know how this compares to a Lotus Colton performance wise. Even the size of it's just so much like a Lotus Colton, and it should be, because this is kind of like I'm not saying this is like a Lotus Colton because it ain't, but it's kind of come from the same family, and you know, it's got a similar setup, isn't it? And even the fact that in second gear you can hit 70 miles an hour, that's pretty good. But anyway, 6.25 seconds was the fastest time that I could get from 20 to 70 miles an hour, which is a really good time. What's really strange is I didn't consider to compare it to the Astra Vxr, which from factory is 240 brake horsepower, and we beat the Astra Vxr. I know this car has supposedly been tuned, although I don't have any paperwork to prove it's been tuned. It does feel quick. I don't know, does it feel quicker than its stock 250 horsepower? I would say, yeah, it does. It didn't beat the Audi S3, which, I don't know, is that a disappointment? I think it's pretty good that it even came close. And overall, I think Vauxhall, it's a good brand, man. You can't knock Vauxhall. It's low budget, good value for money. And for me personally, it's always been a brand that's sort of stamped in my heart. Is it in my heart? It kind of is. And as the Cavalier evolved into the Vectra, and then the old Vectra evolved into this new Vectra, and then GSI evolved into VXR, I think, you know what? That all combined, I think Vauxhall done a bloody good job of this car, right? So my conclusion or my summary is I'm actually quite impressed with this Vauxhall Vectra Vxr, and for the money, it's a bloody cool thing, all right? So I'm gonna wrap it up, leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. Let me just pull out of here and have a little listen. Oh my God, that was an accident. That was actually an accident. These are Asbo, these cars, absolute Asbos. They shouldn't be allowed on the road making stupid noises like that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked the video.